Hello there, this is Nano's Gig, and we're still in Nano month, so that means I'm not writing video. I'm sorry, not more active, but my throat is still a bit sore. Talked about it in the previous video, and I'm not as active as I would like to be, and also my NaNoWriMo is at around 30,000 words at the moment, and I'm a bit stuck. I'm in the muddle place, not the middle place, the muddle place, because it's getting, after 30,000 words, it's really getting very challenging to go on and writing and continuing, it's kind of hard. So today's video will be about how I write secondary characters. It's a recipe for writing taking all those big characters, all those, let's use the RPG terminology and call it NPCs, those characters that are not main to the story, but they have certain roles, and how you can make them interesting. And I know, at the point I'm recording this video, there's a lot of discussion about who is giving writing advice, and there is some dispute about my characters are real to me, they're people who tell me what to do, and this cup over here, it's a cup of coffee, and that's just me stating my method to create some secondary characters. So they're not protagonists, they're not main characters, they are acquaintances. They will characters the heroes will meet. Maybe they'll have some small roles within the novel, but that they're not the main part of your story. They're people you have to come up with because they were a side note in your outline, or something you just came up with if you're pantsing. And as I said before, that's my method, so you can try to use it, you can totally ignore it, you do whatever you want with this piece of information I'm about to say, because you have no reason to believe me. I don't plan to state my credentials and try to push my authority and establish that you should listen to me. It's for free, so go on, do whatever you want. It's your choice. So if you still want to listen to my piece of advice, which you can take with your grain of salt, let me tell you that my current nano project, Team Omega, had no plan at all. I mean, I had some footnotes, some milestones I would want to follow, some scenes I want to write, but I haven't made extensive notes on the characters and their side stories. So since I have a lot of secondary characters, because we have a big military police force of 100 people, and our main character is in 10 people squad, and there are also another 2 military forces, 2 militias they have to deal with in the area they're enclosed in. This means that there will be a lot of secondary characters I have to come up with, and I have to come up with on the fly, because it's NaNoWriMo. You cannot spend too much time planning characters, you have to type them down. So how do you define a character? There are some characteristics you can use. I mean, the appearance of a character is very important. You have to throw in some descriptions about them while writing them. I know you can leave some details vague, but it's good to have a couple of identifiers about what they look like when writing them. There is also their roles within their society, within their group. It's about, what's their employment, what's their family life, what's up with them. Background is important. I mean, how did they come up with this role in society, and how does this helps or hinders them in this role, and also how does it affect their appearance, that kind of stuff. You have to get their voice. That means both how they speak and what they say, because in order to make identifiable character, you have to come up with a way they speak that is interesting and easy to get. You can also have some mannerism they do, like like me, and I mostly edit those I do out of my videos. And you can also, they rub their nose, they comb their hair, they play with the chin and all those kind of stuffs. Some mannerism always gives a character more snappiness, makes them more identifiable, more endearing. They have different drives, meaning why they do stuff, because if you know what motivates a character, you can come up with some very interesting parts in your story about how they react to something's happening, especially if you're pantsing. And I'm not a pantser, but I'm a light plotter, so I have to pants a lot of details when writing a novel, knowing what are the drives of a character, why a character does what they do is very helpful. And also some quirks. Your character has a lisp. It's a bit of the mannerism too. They're the same thing, but I have it here. Mannerism and quirks are together, but that's quite a few stuff you need to know about a character. And there are all those videos and guides about character sheets of characters you can use, and I never use them. Really, I never use them. I mostly come up with all this stuff while writing or while planning. And most of my characters, the character sheets I see, they don't apply to them. They don't have a favorite song, they don't have a favorite color or favorite food, or just don't care about coming up with that, really. The question is, if you're writing and you have this brand new character you have to introduce, how do you come up with all those boxes? Really. And that's what I do. At the beginning, you have to introduce the character, right? So if I have to introduce a character, there should be a reason I should do that. And that's another thing to add to this list, the reason for introducing a character. Why do I need that character in there? And actually, I have watched a video a couple of months ago by Chris Fox, who is an author and an author tuber, and has written some very good writing books like Right to Market. I'll leave a link to his channel, maybe this video. And he said that if you have a character that can play a role already established, just put it there instead of a new character. And I have never thought of that, to be honest. That's a great advice. So, if there's a reason to introduce a character, first, I have to see if any of the characters I've put in there can play this role. Then I have to think that what is so important about those things defining the character I have to mention. If I know the reason I'm putting this character in there, I have a hint about those boxes and how they're filled. For instance, let's have this very generic fantasy novel, and your main character meets a guard. And guards are the most generic stuff in fantasy fiction, or if you're in the role playing like I used to be, the PCs will always meet an NPC guard that's, got an arrow to the knee or something.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Which, yes, it was an amazing line, but when every guard in Skyrim said, I got an arrow in the knee, it was funny and a meme. So yes, you probably have a man in military uniform, and that's his appearance. Probably he's clean-shaven. And unless that's your safe choice, to be fair. And this man is probably a soldier. He's low-ranked, because knowing hell you'll have an officer doing a bit. And his role is a low-ranked soldier, with all this entails. And then you can fill other blanks. And there are 3 ways to do that. The first way is you can go for the easy tropes. What you would expect from a character like that. I mean, already I said your guard is a man, because what we mostly expect is a man to be a guard, a soldier. But, I mean, if your setting is egalitarian, or is there another reason to that, the guard can be a woman, but we'll get to that later on. He can do what is expected, the tropes that everybody knows. I mean, this guard has a very gruff voice. He speaks little, and he sounds like Batman from I Am Batman, the Nano movies or something. This guard can be lazy, or he can be dumb, or rude. After all, he's a lonely soldier, not, totally disposable. And that's all. And that's what you can do with a guard. The second choice you can make is you subvert the expectations. I mean, do what is not expected for this guard. The guard can be a woman, as I said before. Or this guard is a man, but he's very effeminate, and he's very streetwise, or he's book smart and he's just working as a guard because working as a scholar cannot make ends meet, or he had a fallout with the local scribe, so he had to change his career or anything. I mean, I know a guy who is a bouncer and also has a PhD in art history or something, really. So yes, that's something you can have in there and make the guard interesting or identifiable. I mean, you have this guard who pops around and he's very smart, knows everything, everybody, and helps the character go around, and maybe later on he can come up and save them on a tight spot you weren't expecting to, really. And the third option to do that is you pick something random. I mean, okay, it can be an Easter egg or a reference you came up with. I mean, I had in a novel I was writing, I had to come up with the name of a female necromancer, so I called her Volfiria because I was on YouTube listening to some black metal music, and a song by the band Roddy Christ came up with Volfiria the Jackal, and their necromancers were the Order of the Jackal. So yes, it's Volfiria. It's an Easter egg, and few people will get that here, will get that name, but you get the point. I mean, you have this guard, and he may have black hair, or brown hair, or red hair, or blonde hair. Depending on what's your dominant ethnic group, your geography. I mean, of course, if you have an African setting, yes, probably the guard will have black hair and dark skin. But if you have a Caucasian culture, or, this fake medieval Celtic or Saxon fantasy setting, you're very generic and idealized fantasy Europe setting, yes, probably this guard is Caucasian. You can have any of those hair colors. As you need to come up with more information about this guard character, you can fill in these blanks as they come up. And in my opinion, you have to do a good mix of those three methods to get an interesting character. So how do you pick those information? And I'll have an example from my work in progress, Celtic Omega, and we'll have Corporal Zen introduced because he has quite a few appearances. I mean, says around the character for the first half of the novel. She's a member of Josie's squad and also has to follow him. Josie is the main character, to follow him for a mission. So up to the midpoint, she's always there. So I had to come up with a lot of details about the reason for her to be there. I mean, I had to have 10 people in his initial squad to get shot at by gangsters in an ambush. So I also wanted to have a female officer there, has been demoted to kill team duty because, as I stated in my premise video, the previous Nano vlog I did, it's all about police officers who are either conscripted from civilians and have no qualifications to go to police academy, or you have police academy staff who are demoted there and have to go to the ghettos of a futuristic cyberpunk city and get shot at by criminals or shoot at them. The main idea is that they shoot the criminals, but the criminals also shoot at them, so that's how it goes. So the main concept was that there should be an officer in there who is female, and she's demoted for being promiscuous because she was having affairs with other officers, and the main idea was to establish that the police force of the 23rd century is a very dehumanized force that forbids to form bonds with other police officers. The obvious choice for an officer like that, appearance-wise, is you have a model good-looking, tall, blonde bombshell. So I did some minor subversion. She's petite, cute, and blonde. She's sort of like Kylie Minogue from the Street Fighter movies. And so yes, he's quite good looking, but not the blonde, tall goddess, that we're so used to. So while she's conventionally beautiful, and that doesn't make her too alienating for the audience, she's also not what you'd quite expect. There's some mix and match there. And before she ended up as a trash cop, I came up with a line that she used to be in finance monitoring. So that's pretty much like the IRS. Yes, she was an IRS agent. So that was a random pick, really. But that also means that she's book smart and she's quite intelligent, and well, people expect, she has a bubbly personality, she's flirty, She kinda enjoys her good looks and the privilege they get here. She's also prone to deducing stuff and having insights, and this surprises people. That's an obvious subversion of the dumb pretty woman cliche. I went for option number 2 in that, and that gives her some extra role. I mean, she's not eye candy because you just read about that, and our point of view character is not like, oh, she's very pretty, I want to pet her. No, he says, oh, she's pretty. Move along. So, in order to make her more interesting, because she's there and she has a speaking part, I had to go to subvert something and make her more interesting. She's easygoing, she likes to get by, she enjoys the good life, but since we're in a battleground, doesn't show it there, but that's her background, it landed her in trouble. And she also wants to be a peacemaker and, you know, have everybody be happy, and that's not easy because tensions are very high. Things in this operation are going way south early on, so she's the voice of reason amidst some very hot-headed people who want to shoot each other while they're shot at by gangsters. And this part is some easy options that fit her character. That's, you know, she's used to be liked, and so she expects people like each other. It fits her. So yes, she's identifiable in a way. She's this pretty and popular children type girl, and she's also a bit smart. Yes, she's not what you'd expect all the time. She's not alienating because she's different from what one would expect. And I know she's not deep, but she doesn't have to be. She just have to be interesting to be in there and keep the readers say, "Oh yes, that's her." That's so I can see why she's not annoying me or something. I don't know. I hope she does at least. If the book is out at the moment you're seeing this video, please leave a comment if I'm right or I'm just stupid or wrong. I'll appreciate that. And also, if you want to add some extra spice for a character you've come up with, a side character, you can have this character interact with other side characters. And of course, the main character too. I mean, I used to work a job some years ago, and it was 75% female. So there was this girl who was really good looking there. And when I say good looking, I mean she was Megan Fox-like good looking. And you would notice it from no matter what, really. And most of the people there liked her because of her personality, because there is a truth about attractive people. If people look good, other people like her, like them, especially if they're not threatening them. The moment somebody feels threatened by the attractiveness of some other people, they react badly to them. She was not attractive, threatening. She was attractive and also innocuous, and that's how I see Jenny there. Purple Jenny. And yes, pretty much everybody likes her for their own reason, but there is also this woman in the squad, her name is Kyla, and she has a burn mark on her face because, you know, when you're out in some tough neighborhoods and you're fighting people, you're bound to have scars. And she feels quite jealous, and at some point she throws a jab about Jenny's appearance. Yes, I came up with Kyla having a burn mark on her face, also at random, like, oh yes, there should be somebody who's very scarred. Very obviously scarred, because people are going to battles all the time. They have to pinpoint this theme somehow, that they are injuries. And yes, people get injured all the time in this novel, or worse. So while I was writing, our main character has to go gung-ho and distract the gangers who have ambushed them, because Kyla and Jenny are pinned, and Jenny puts her life in danger to help Kyla, who's injured during the firefight, escape. And as I was writing that, I came up with, okay, Kyla will be very jealous. She will not thank our main character. Say, oh yes, she did it because Jenny was in danger, because you're a boy, and boy is lost after Jenny, and she's jealous about her. And you know, this suddenly makes her also identifiable. She has another characteristic. She feels bad about her burnt face. And I mean, there's another character coming there, say no, was like Teddy, and sees the sassy, annoying little sister, endearing, annoying little sister character. When you have these tangential characters that come up during the plot and do little stuff, or maybe they're there just as window dressing, or to info dump, or do one thing and then get lost in the background, and you start adding relationships between them, it just makes them more realistic and alive. And if they die and you know stuff about them, that makes their death more dramatic. That's a general rule for writing. You have to make a character that gets bad stuff happening to them endearing to the reader. So if you have a character that's about to die, yes, you should probably run down all those info and make them resonate with readers. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe for more videos like that, maybe share it on social media, and I'll see you with another writing video within this month, I hope, because I might be, struggling to finish my Nano, because I'm at this middle point that is very muddly. So thanks for watching, and happy writing. Bye bye.